I hate throwing things away. But even more than that, I hate buying things when I can make them out of something that I'm not throwing away.
I guess I like upcycling, but I hate the word upcycling. I have this old lamp, which I think is called a swing arm lamp, although it looks like that term applies to some other kinds of lamps too. But the cool thing about it is that it has the spring-loaded parallelogram mechanism that will A, keep it where you put it by resisting gravity with the springs, and B, maintain the angle. I have a problem, which is that when I'm trying to film small things that I'm doing at my desk, I don't have a good way to hold the camera, which is a smartphone, in place close to the thing that I'm working on. So I'm going to convert this thing into the exact tool that I need. Let's get at it. Before I start building anything, I'm just going to remove the stuff I don't need. The shade assembly is held onto the arm with a couple of rivets via this little aluminum plate. I'm not going to need this power cord, so I'll get rid of that. It might be useful to be able to run a USB cable up here so I can charge the phone while I'm filming, but I think I'll wait on that until I have a better sense of how I use it. There are some little plastic doohickeys on here that are keeping the cord from coming out, so I'll just get rid of those with my jabbing chisel. With those gone, the cord slides right out, and I'm ready to start building. This is my current setup. It's a phone in a clamp on a tripod. The clamp has a 1/4-20 threaded insert, which is the standard for most camera equipment, which is great because now I just need to have a 1/4-20 bolt on my lamp, and I'll be able to mount this clamp or a whole slew of other camera-like things. And this is the clamp taken off of the tripod. You can see the threaded insert on the bottom there, and this is a 1/4-20 bolt that I'll be using to mount it. The lampshade with the switch light socket weighs 7.3 ounces. I want to make sure that that's in the same ballpark as what I'm going to be putting on here because that's what the springs are tuned to handle. So the clamp and the bolt are 3.4 ounces, and with the phone, it comes to 9.6 ounces. I think that's close enough. The plate that attached to the shade is curved, and I had a few ideas about how I was going to launch off of that, including a 3D print and cutting something on the bandsaw with a curve in it. But it turns out this thing is just made of aluminum and it bends really easily. So rather than try to make something curved to fit, I can just make it straight. So I have a flat surface to mount off of, and I need to get a 1/4-20 bolt onto it, and that reduces my problem down to very little. I could take this piece of wood and screw it to the plate, then I could put a bolt through it, and it's ready to go. So I'll start by marking off the locations for the screws and clean those marks up a little bit so they're easier to find at the drill press. These little panhead screws should work well, so I'll tape off the depth I want to drill to and just go for it. It's kind of at this point in the project that I realize there's very little to this. Like, I'm just taking this one little block of wood, drilling 2 holes in it for these screws right here, and then one more hole to hold the 1/4-20 bolt, and mounting it all together, and it's done. But, like, that's a good thing. I just want to have the phone mounted on the end of the lamp, so I don't want to overcomplicate this. And if it works out to be simple, great. Now, to put the hole going in the other direction, I just need a 1/4-inch hole through the center. So I'll mark that out with the diagonals and drill. So with this hole drilled, that's really all there is to it, with the exception of some little cleaning up things that I'm going to do. both of which could have been solved with some other hardware or with a little extra planning ahead. Speaking of hardware, I have to make sure that the bolt sticks out the right amount, so I'll do that by measuring the full length of the bolt and then screwing it into the insert and measuring what's left sticking out. The difference is 8.5 millimeters, so I want a little less than that sticking out past the block. So I'll set the calipers to 7 millimeters. I'll lock them in place. Then if I put a piece of tape on the end of the calipers here, I can transfer that directly onto the bolt, which is a lot easier and easier to see than trying to make a mark with a Sharpie on the threads. I guess this is the part of the video where I shoot sparks at the camera and tell you to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. Right, with that all cut off, I can just clean it up a little bit on the sander, and that piece is ready to go. All right, so now we'll just attach the wood block onto the end of the lamp arm with those 2 panhead screws from before. Now when I go to put the clamp onto the block, you can see that little piece of aluminum plate is sticking up past there, which is mostly fine, but I'm going to make it nice and get rid of it. Okay, so now it's all set. It swivels 180 degrees around, so I can have the screen facing towards or away from what I'm filming, depending on how I want to see it. I'm using a socket on a screwdriver to tighten it up here, but I'll probably add a thumb screw or a knob or something to make it a little easier in the future. We can put the base back on and take it for a spin. This is the old shot that I can get. And now with the PHLAMP, this is the new shot that I can get. As you can see, the biggest problem now is I'm too close and I'm having trouble getting focus, which is a really good problem to have since I can easily move it back a little bit. Not only that, but now when I'm working, I don't have a tripod between my legs blocking my hands and my view. This was definitely worth it, and I'm really psyched to use this thing for some upcoming projects. Thanks for watching.